Oh my goodness. In what has been a brutal week tonight, we get proof that the future may still be bright in Anaheim. Neto, Joyce, and Soriano all star in a thrilling win over the Mets for our Halos. We'll talk about it on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls. Hello, Postcast people, and welcome to the latest and most excited in a while edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game here on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel, and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, I'm Gavin Carlson. I spent 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area, and I am now, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, and my word, what an exciting, thrilling, infuriating at times, but stellar win for our Angels tonight. Not only did we get a great start from Jose Soriano, not only did Hunter Strickland blow it, but then Zach Neto with a 3-run go-ahead homer, and then Ben Joyce with 4 outs in his first save, including a 105-mile-an-hour fastball to clinch the victory. Wow, what a win. One of the wins of the season in what has been the worst week of the season for so many reasons. Trout injury, Rendon injury, Rengifo injury, brutal trade deadline, brutal losses. But not tonight. Tonight, we get to, for once, in this franchise, in this fan base, have a little bit of joy and happiness and, above all else, positivity about the future, because if you have watched some postcasts, you know I try my best to not get too excited about one single win in a season where this team is still 15 games under 500. But tonight is the type of win that you can get excited about, because it wasn't just a win. It was a win where the future, where there's hope, where the future looks a little bit brighter than it did before the game started. Shout out to everybody in here. As always, appreciate the love, the support, the excitement, the comment section popping today, because of course, how can it not be? What a thrilling win. Like I said in the chat before I went live, literally the Angels banner behind me that looks so beautiful today, it literally fell down because I was not only screaming, but kind of jumping up and down, and I think maybe I was creating some wind tunnels in my room, but the banner fell. I hung it back up, and I was proudly hanging it back up tonight, because what a 5-4 win over the New York Mets. On tonight's show, we will talk about so much. We'll have to mention that the bullpen almost gave this game away. I will tell you, please do not forget about how good Kevin Pillar was tonight, because a lot happened and you could easily forget how great he was, especially in the first inning. Don't forget how great Soriano was tonight. Of course, you won't forget how unbelievable Ben Joyce was tonight. But we have to start with Zach Neto, of course. And before we do, a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. This show is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sportsing like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. And let's get started talking about the shortstop of the future, not just for the Angels, not just for the AL West, but for the American League, and maybe for the entire MLB. All right, I'll calm down a little bit. But Zach Neto really flashed the superstar potential tonight. Ron Washington, who will get a lot of credit tonight, deserves credit here. He moves Neto up into the 2-hole. I don't know if he's pitched in the 2-hole all year. I don't think he has. But Neto gets moved up by Ron Washington. He was going up, or he and the entire Angels lineup was going up against a lefty starter. And so it makes a lot of sense to have Neto, who is obviously a right-handed hitter, who has struggled at times with down and away soft stuff against righties, get him up against a lefty, have O'Hoppe right behind him, and then Pilar, and then Ward, and then Drury, and then Adele, all those righties in a row after Nolan Shanuel in this lineup against a lefty. Thank you. Thank you. Once again, thank you for having Taylor Ward hitting fifth. I know that O'Hoppe still wasn't amazing tonight, but I want to see O'Hoppe hitting third, not Taylor Ward. Thank you, Ron Washington, for that. And thank you for something I didn't even know I wanted. Honestly, I was calling for Stefanic to hit second because he's been hot, because I think a lot of people wrote him off way too early. He had been great. He's been great since he's been called back up. He was great again tonight, but in the 9 spot. And I guess Ron Washington, that's the reason he's an MLB manager and not me. He got this one absolutely spot on. And it started right away. We'll give Pilar his credit right now. It started right away thanks to an unbelievable diving catch in center field by Kevin Pilar in the top of the first, and then an RBI single from Kevin Pilar in the bottom of the first. So he deserves his flowers. Boy, does he deserve them. But we have to fast forward all the way to the 7th inning, because that is the inning, of course, that decided this game. The final score 5-4, but the Mets score all 4 runs in the 7th, and the Angels score 3 of their 5 runs in the 7th inning. If you don't know what happened, Soriano was great. We'll go into greater depth with his start later, but we have to jump to the top of the 7th inning when it's not Soriano up to pitch, it's Hans Kraus. And boy, talk about a fall from grace for Hans Kraus. He had been unbelievable. We know it. 4-0. Every time this guy pitched, they won. But 2 straight losses, 2 straight blown games from him. And then he comes out here, top of the 7th, after Soriano pitches 6 scoreless innings. And I think everybody, certainly but I think everybody's sitting there going, okay, it's probably the time to take Soriano out. But here we go. What Hans Kraus are we going to get? And unfortunately, it starts right away with a leadoff walk to Jeff McNeil. Not great there. Then he gets a strikeout, but then Lindor singles. It's first and second with 1 out, and Ron Washington does not waste any time. And I give him credit for that. In the moment, and still looking after the fact, I give him credit for not wasting any time with Hans Kraus. Obviously, he's falling off. He calls up Hunter Strickland to replace Hans Kraus. But the only guy who's been worse than Hans Kraus as of late is Hunter Strickland, and he did it again tonight. Immediately walks Brandon Nimmo on a long at-bat, 6-pitch, full count at-bat, but immediately walks Brandon Nimmo. And then you got JD Martinez, who might be 107 years old, but has always been a great hitter in this league. And it's righty against righty. I still think this is a plus matchup for the Angels. It should be, but boy, was it not. He falls behind 2-0, and then he doesn't even throw a bad pitch. He throws a sinker down and in, a pretty solid pitch on 2-0, honestly, right on the corner. Probably would have been a called strike, but I guess JD Martinez was sitting down and in sinker because he got all of it. 105.9 exit velo, 419 feet with the bases loaded on 2-0. And just like that, a lead for the Angels, a 2-0 lead, a shutout start from Soriano, all gone on one swing. A grand slam from JD Martinez, and talk about deflating. You know how excited I get when Jose Soriano pitches. I think he is my favorite player. I don't know why, something about it. Maybe it's just because I really like, dreaming that he can become a Cy Young level starting pitcher. But I love when Soriano pitches, and I love when he does what he did tonight, where he was almost hitless. I think 5 hits, obviously a shutout performance, and boy, was I annoyed when his decision is immediately taken away from him, thanks to the bullpen absolutely collapsing in the 7th inning. It's 4-2, and I am pissed, and you are all pissed. And the only thing that could turn our emotions was exactly what happened. Not 2 strikeouts from Adele and Matt Thaiss back-to-back to start, but then 3 young guys in a row. Stefanic, line drive single. He had a great night, 2 for 3. Nolan Shanuel, he takes a walk. First and second now. Still 2 outs, all a 2-out rally. Brazoban, who I think it might have been his Mets debut or only his second appearance, for the Mets. And then a crazy at-bat against Zach Neto. The at-bat you make movies about. He gets ahead, 3-0. Then he takes a strike. Then he fouls off a sinker, high and in. Then he fouls off a cutter. Then he fouls off a 4-seam fastball. And then the 8th pitch of the at-bat, after a cutter, a sinker, a cutter, and a four seam are all strikes. He gets a cutter up and in. And, one thing I will say, to give him even more credit than he obviously is going to get, I don't think a lot of people, I'm sure some of you, and certainly my podcast listeners are the smartest people in the business, but some people might look at this pitch and see a cutter right down the middle and think, well, that's one you got to do damage on. But based on how this at-bat is going, everything, it started down and away, but then Brazelbaum says, I'm throwing everything up and in. Cutter up and in. Sinker up and in. Cutter up and in. Four seam up and in. And so what that is that's three different types of fastballs that all move in different ways. Obviously a four seam down the middle. Obviously the cutter going away from Neto. Obviously the sinker going into the hands in Neto. So it might look like a bad pitch on 3-2 to throw a cutter right down the middle, but it starts in the same location as the last four pitches started in, up and in. And it is not easy at all to see it coming up and in and say, no, that's not a four-seamer that's going to stay up and in. No, that's not a sinker that's going to come in on the hands and be ball four. No, that's a cutter breaking down the middle. And Zach Neto is able to do just that and crush a cutter 391 feet, but it was a frozen rope, 109.2 exit velo, his 14th homer of the year, a 3-run shot, and 4-2 Mets is suddenly 5-4 Angels, and that big A crowd that was surprisingly over 36,000, one of the highest numbers in a while, certainly on a Saturday night against the Mets after a disappointing performance, and the crowd got a game and an inning that they deserved. What a swing of the bat, what an 8-pitch at bat from Zach Neto to steal the lead back right after the bullpen gave it away. Wow. Oh, I'm still buzzing. My heart is still racing. Even when you're 16 games under 500 coming in, there's still stuff you can do as a team, as a franchise, to get this fan base excited. And having more than three, basically all the young guys did something tonight to give you hope for the future. Chanuel was okay. Ohapi was okay. But Stefanic was great. Neto was great. Soriano was great. Ben Joyce was great. Even Joe Adell actually had a hit for once. Just about as good of a night as you can have based on what has been about as bad of a week as you could have as an Angels fan, as an Angels franchise. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we got to talk about Ben Joyce. Ron Washington, he woke up, he got smart, and he said, enough wasting time with all these grandpas blowing games. Let's give it to the future of the bullpen. And boy, did Ben Joyce prove he is the future of the bullpen. We'll talk about another superstar potential revealing performance after our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show is brought to you by Liquid IV. When you're taking in America's pastime, great old baseball, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's Popsicle Firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. And boy, I wish I had that with me. I wish I have it with me right now because I might be a little dehydrated from yelling, from screaming, from now talking with all this animation, excitement. I might be dehydrated. And whether it's right now or whenever, I highly recommend you get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Tear, pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Powered by LIV Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients. And it's always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. So, no more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. And today's show is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning champion. I just got to say, that describes Angels fans perfectly. passion, drive, and patience. It's also the formula for winning championships, and it's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for, and with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Back here live on an animated, thrilled, excited edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. I am fired up, and I know you are as well, because the Angels come from behind, down 4-2, after the bullpen blows it, after Hunter Strickland gives up a grand slam. Zach, future all-star shortstop superstar Neto, hits a 3-run home run to put the Angels back up 5-4. And then we got Ben Joyce, bringing joy to all of us. And like I said, Ron Washington did not waste any time today. After Strickland blows it in the 7th, and boy did he blow it, Matt Moore deserves credit before we get to Ben Joyce, because he got the job done. He did. Top of the 8th inning, Moore comes in for Strickland. He gives up a double right away, but then he gets 2 ground outs. A runner is now on third, and a runner on third, 2 outs, and a righty up. An absolute perfect time to bring in a righty, but not just any righty. He could have gone Jose Marte and then said, Ben Joyce, come out and get the save. No. This guy throws an average fastball of 102, and since he's mixed in the sinker, since he's brought the sinker, splinker, splitter, whatever you want to call it, into his repertoire, he has not given up a run. Get him in the game. He should have closed instead of Strickland earlier in this painful week. And today, not only does he close, he comes in for a 4-out save against Tyrone Taylor, and he does absolutely what you expect and want from Ben Joyce. Throw strikes, throw hard pitches, comes in with a sinker right down the middle, then gives a sinker down, swing and a miss, 0-2. Then he decides, you know what, I'll throw 103 on the outside corner. Taylor barely fouls that off, and then he throws a sinker high and in, weak contact, ground ball to Brandon Drury at third, and strands the runner at third, gets us out of the 8th inning unscathed. But he was just getting started, because in the 9th, with quite a trio of Mets hitters coming up in Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, and JD, the hero of this game for the Mets, Martinez, and Ben Joyce does his thing. And the thing with Ben Joyce, kind of like Soriano, like we always say, sometimes you're going to throw bad pitches. The control is not perfect. It's impossible to have perfect control when you're throwing 103, when you're throwing 97-mile-an-hour sinkers. But when you're this electric, sometimes it doesn't matter. Against Lindor, a sinker below the knees, swing and a miss. And then a sinker right down the middle and high, the worst possible spot for a sinker. But it's not a four-seamer. It's not easy to square up. And Lindor just misses this one. He hits it 300 feet, but not 400 feet, and you get a flyout. Then, I'm about to cry tears of joy talking about this second out in the 9th inning. Because not only does Ben Joyce have a very solid pitching at-bat, throwing everything away against a lefty, no need to throw anything down and in to Nimmo that he can turn on and try to tie this game with a solo shot. Everything's away. And on 2-2, he throws a changeup down and away. Pretty darn solid pitch. Nimmo with very weak contact. So weak that it's a chopper to short that Neto has to charge, grab with his bare hand, fire it over to first. There's no way he's going to make this play, right? He got him. And everyone's in such disbelief that obviously the Mets with 2 outs here are going to challenge this one. It was about as bang as it gets at first place. But sometimes the baseball gods aren't going to be 100% cruel. And what has been a 100% cruel week becomes a 99% cruel week, because the call on the field stands. Neto's unbelievable bare hand grab and throw to first is an out. So we have Ben Joyce doing his thing after Neto has already done his thing with the bat. Now he's doing his thing in the field. And then, what's the only thing that could get you more excited than a Neto 3-run shot and a Ben Joyce 4-out save and a Neto bare hand play? How about the fastest pitch of the MLB season on the last strike of the game? It doesn't get much better, man. It doesn't get much better. JD Martinez, the guy who hit a grand slam against Hunter Strickland. Well, you're not facing Hunter Strickland, buddy. Fastball, down and away, 103.7. Strike one, called. Second pitch, fastball right down the middle. Once again, Ben Joyce playing with fire. Fastball right down the middle, but it's 103.2, so it's fouled off. And then if JD Martinez thought 103.7 and 103.2 were fast, were hard to catch up to, how about 104.7 at the knees? I don't even know what to say there. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Unbelievable. Stunning, thrilling way to cap off a 4-out save for Ben Joyce. Joyce to the world. Oh, man, I'm just delirious with this win. I'm so excited, and I know all of you are as well. 4-out save from Joyce. Neto with a great play. Pilar had a great play in the first. Pilar had an RBI in the first. Neto with a 3-run homer. Soriano with 6 scoreless. Just a thrilling win. And I know, I've kind of seen it a little bit out of the corner of my eye, but there are quite a few comments from some pumped up Angels fans. So after this last break here on the postcast, we will get to your comments. We will talk about this win a little bit more because, man, we still got to talk about Soriano. This guy pitched 6 scoreless innings against the Mets. He did something that Tyler Anderson couldn't do just yesterday. So we'll get to that. And we'll get to your comments, of course, after our last break here on the most excited in a while edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Finally, today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks. If you don't know what Prize Picks is by now, it's the #1 daily fantasy sports app in America with over 5 million active members. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 million active members. Why? Because it's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. That's why. Unlike other apps where you got to compete against other players, other people with AI and all these advanced linear regression statistic models to make predictions, it's just you against the numbers. All you got to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Not only that, not only can you turn $10 into $1,000 by winning up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks, but they also help you out too. On Tuesdays, they lower certain stat projections to make them easier to hit. And on Fridays, your first lineup, if it doesn't hit, well, guess what? You get your money back. No questions asked. So what are you doing? If you haven't already by now, run to the App Store and download the Prize Picks app today, and then use code LOCKEDON for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's what? It's that easy. Back here live on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast, and I am fired up. I'm delirious. I'm moving my shoulders way too much. I'm bopping my head. I'm raising my voice. I knocked over the Angels banner behind me earlier in the night because, wow, maybe the most exciting win of the year for our Angels. We've had walk-offs. We had that thrilling Logan O'Hoppe home run in the Cream City Connect jerseys in a day game. We had other exciting finishes. We had the Willie Calhoun walk-off in his 2-home run night. But no game, arguably all year, showed that the future might be a little brighter than you would think for this Angels franchise than this game. Than this game where the core three of the core young guys in Soriano, Neto, and Joyce all play about as perfectly as you can play. O'Hoppe wasn't bad either. Shanehill wasn't bad either. And then the oldest guy of the bunch, Kevin Pilar, an unsung hero tonight, once again with that diving catch and that first inning RBI single. With all that being said, we're going to jump into the comments. We'll finish by talking about Jose Soriano a little bit more, and then we'll let you enjoy the rest of your much happier now Saturday night. Jeff came in here at 8:40, almost an hour before the game ended, saying, there you have it, another loss. I can't wait until we are a good team again. I will support the Halos no matter what, no matter how horrible they are now. Because that was right after JD Martinez hit a heartbreaking home run. But like he said, almost or more than 40 minutes later, guess I was wrong. We actually won. Anaheim Angel says, Jeff, you jumped the gun. And then Anaheim Angel exactly says, I hope this is a glimpse of the future. Love the kids at the top of the lineup. And like you say, Gavin, that's me. Pilar needs to be in every game. Well, if you didn't trade him, yeah, you might as well keep him in every game because he's one of the better players on your team. He's also the best leader on your team. He's also maybe the best fielder, outfielder, maybe just best fielder in general, maybe just best outfielder in general on your team. Skyler comes in fired up and says, Zach freaking Neto and 105 by Joyce. You kidding me? What a win. Get Strickland and Krause off this team now. Yeah, they were both bad once again. But yeah, perfectly sums up the excitement, the energy, the emotions from basically all of the Angels fan base tonight. Zach Neto and Ben Joyce, are you kidding me? But don't you forget about my boy Jose Soriano because he was great. Skyler adds, let the young kids play. Keep this lineup rest of the season. Neto at second in the lineup, maybe not against righties, but against lefties, I don't see why it can't be like it is today. Shandel is just kind of locked in as the leadoff guy, and that average keeps rising. But against lefties, why not? Why not go with Neto, Ohapi, Pilar, then Ward? Makes sense to me, and it worked out quite well tonight. Now, 5 runs is not 10, and let's not act like this team was unbelievable offensively, but it once again proves this team scores 5 runs, they usually win the game, which means you got to give a lot of credit to this pitching staff and also to the coaching staff of the pitchers, because this staff, whether it's the starters and the bullpen, based on the names you see out there, they're exceeding expectations. Let's not forget that Jose Soriano was a reliever and an average reliever at that, and now he is maybe already the Angels ace. Tyler Anderson having a career year at his age. Got to give this coaching staff or the pitching staff credit. Got to give certain pitchers credit for making 5 runs, the magic amount of runs to win a game. Anaheim Angel says, yep, I can do without Strickland and Krause. Joyce with that 4-out save. Oh boy. Yeah, a whole lot of oh boys. Yeah, Skyler absolutely right. One of the best wins of the season. Anaheim Angel says, yep, I was actually happy watching this game, even with the Mets grand slam. I hope Neto batting second is an everyday thing. Like I keep saying, probably not against righties, and that's fine. Against righties, maybe Moniak gets moved up in the lineup. Who knows? Maybe Neto just keeps hitting second. You got nothing to lose. And he's one of the few guys that is not only going to be in this lineup next year, but the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that. So that's why I love that Shanuel is the leadoff guy, because he's going to be in this lineup forever, and you need him to get the at-bats. Neto is another one of those guys. And boy, hopefully this game can get him red hot, keep raising that average, that OPS. It's certainly not terrible, but there's a potential, obviously, tonight shows it, for that, slash line to look a lot better. 255, 752 OPS. If he can get over 800, if Ohapi can get back over 800, if Shanuel can get over 750, I will take it from that young trio, the trio of the future. Just some talk back and forth between Anaheim Angel and Jeff about jinxing. Anaheim Angel says, imagine this team with the kids, then Rada and drafting more on this team. I know I'm wishful thinking, but all I have is hope. That's funny. That's really funny. And it's true. Christian Moore, since he's been in the minors, has been absolutely red hot. Already got promoted once. And one thing I was going to say, regardless of the outcome, I'm convinced that right now, Christian Moore could be better than Brandon Drury. I'm not saying rush him up because we don't need to ruin his development. But my word, don't let all of this distract you from the fact that Brandon Drury might be the worst baseball player in the league right now. He is abysmal. 1 strikeout, 0 for 4. He's hitting 155. I don't think I've seen, I know that there's a lot of guys that their averages aren't great. We know that's the modern, MLB. But I don't think I've seen a guy in August hitting 6th in a lineup, hitting 155. That is a below average fielder and is not giving you anything on the bases too. I mean, it is shameful. It is shameful. And when Rengifo comes back, it better be Drury and not Stefanic taking out of this lineup. Even if they were playing the same, it should be Stefanic over Drury. But Stefanic is now hitting 275 after a 2-for-3 performance. Brandon Drury is hitting 155. if Brandon Drury is ever starting over Michael Stefanic, there is something wrong. There really is something wrong. Just some more comments, and then we get some talk here about Vladdy Jr. Did I miss a rumor or something today? Why is this suddenly the talk? Fud Alex kind of started it. He said, hope we get Vladdy Jr. next season to play third base instead of Rendon. Move Rengifo to right field. Christian Moore to second instead of Drury. I wish. Hey, don't give up on Stefanic yet. I mean, all of those things you said are true and great if they happen, but I'm just going to say it. I thought even before this great homestand for him, since he's been called up with Rendon, Mr. Number 6, and Rengifo both getting hurt, people were writing off Stefanic too early. There is still certainly a scenario, a future, in which Stefanic needs to be talked about in a core 4 with Neto, O'Hoppe, and Shanuel. And it could still be a core 5 when Christian Moore comes up. Okay? I know we debate all the time about Moniak and Adele and whether or not they are a part of this roster, this franchise in the future, but don't write off Stefanic this early, guys, please. He can be a good contact hitter. He can be an above average glove still. And he's hitting 275. If you look at this lineup, he's got the third best lineup or average in the lineup tonight. And just 2 average points behind O'Hoppe. Now I know, of course, Stefanic has hit about a third of the at-bat. I mean, maybe a fifth of the at-bats of everyone else on this team. But don't write him off yet, please. Don't write off Michael Stefanic. I'm starting that campaign right now. He's shown that he can be a contact hitter that maybe will not ever be an everyday starter. Although there's still, Rengifo is showing there's still always room for a guy hitting 300 in every lineup, even if there's no power. But if this guy's a 275 hitter that you can bring in the 8th inning to get a base hit, or be one of the rare hitters on this Angels lineup that we can always count on to at least get a productive out in a 1-out, runner on third type of situation, don't write off Michael Stefanic. Listen to me, okay? All right. Thank you. But yes, all this stuff is great. Vladdy Jr. would be fun. We obviously know the ties to the OG Vladdy and the Angels and all that would be fun. But yeah, just it's fun to think about the future, and tonight makes you think a lot happier about the future. KC24J, always giving you that light that baby up. And he says very, very simply, Neto is nice. Oh, yeah, he is. Eric Gamboa. I've never seen your name in here. I think this is your first time in here, or at least your first time commenting. Shout out to you. Welcome to the comment section. If it's your first postcast, welcome to the postcast. And he says, love for Neto and KP. KP being Kevin Pillar, yes. Stellar performances from them. KC24 says that catch was sick. Just more hype talk. Eric asks, is Joyce the everyday closer now? Absolutely. No question asked. He is. No question asked. Anthony Jimenez says that Moore hit another homer today in his double A debut, may be up soon. Let's not rush him. You can, this is my opinion at least, you can rush a guy up minors. Like, if he is crushing single A, rush him up to double A like we did. If he did hit the homer tonight, as I believe he did, since you said it, and he does it a couple nights in a row, and you want to move him up to triple A, fine. Don't rush him up to the majors. They need to have time in triple A. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the year when the Anaheim Angel read my mind. He says, I'm sure they will call him up at the end of the season when rosters expand. That's probably what's going to happen. Birds for life all day. I think this is his first time in the comment section, certainly, but maybe in the podcast as well. Welcome. He says, I think they should bring up Moore up to the big club, probably put Drury on waivers, hoping someone claims him. Yeah, Drury, once again, I just said my point on my opinion on Moore at least. Don't want to rush him. Don't want to have a Joe Adele type of, rush to the majors and ruin the development. But Stefanic has got to play over Drury every night. And when a Rengifo comes back, even a Rendon, whatever, Drury should not sniff the lineup. He should not. He shouldn't. The one other thing I'll add, it was kind of weird to see Matt Thaiss play in a game with O'Hoppe when you're facing a lefty. I'm fine with Thaiss getting an opportunity. We know how great he has been recently with that unbelievable 5 RBI performance. And he was still good today, 1 for 3 with a run. But it makes more sense for him to play when there's a righty. Why do you need the lefty in against the lefty? I guess Ron Washington just wanted a break from all the righties in case righties came in, and that's what happened. But I don't know. Just kind of an interesting thing for me, but it worked out. Once again, I'm not questioning Ron Washington tonight. He got just about everything right. And the only thing he got wrong was Hunter Strickland, but then he quickly made up for it, get Matt Moore in, and then get Ben Joyce in to seal this thrilling win. Real quick, I know we're way over, but can I just quickly give a few more flowers to Jose Soriano? I already talked about it enough, but 5 hits in 6 innings, no earned runs. He had 2 walks, but 2 walks is not terrible. 6 strikeouts, a couple times where you're in tough moments and you get big ground balls. We know he can do that. There's runners on second. There's chaos. A couple times today, he was great. He was great. Anytime he 6 scoreless innings is more than great. It's fantastic. So don't let all the chaos of tonight distract you from how good Soriano was, because honestly, coming into tonight, more than even once I saw Neto hitting second, obviously that intrigued me. But when Soriano pitches, that is instantly my number one priority. Almost more than winning the game is Soriano having a great start, because he can be the ace of this team in a rotation that does not have a bright future. The lineup having a brighter future, we see here. The bullpen with Ben Joyce having a brighter future, but Soriano is about all we have in terms of future rotation. Sandoval you could have debated, but we ain't seen him for a while, probably all of next year. Detmer, Silseth, who knows? Tyler Anderson, well, I guess will be on the team next year, but certainly not a pitcher for the future. Soriano is the only hope we have of being a star ace other than some prospects. So that is priority number one. When there's a Soriano start, it's him having a great start. And he did. And he wasn't the player of the game. That's Zach Neto. He didn't make the best plays of the game. That's probably Kevin Pillar or Zach Neto. Or Ben Joyce. He wasn't even the flashiest pitcher tonight. But he was great. So give him his flowers as well. What a game. The rare time where I not have 1 or 2 positives in an otherwise negative game. Even in wins, it's usually like, oh, well, 1 big inning was it, and there was nothing else. Sure, only 5 runs, but the starter was great. The only reliever we really care about was great. And just about every hitter, including the ones we care about the most, were great. At Foot Alex says, I would wait to trade Drury instead of DFA. I don't think you can trade him for much. But yeah, obviously you would rather trade than get rid of if you can get something for him. Bob Daniels, definitely your first comment ever. Welcome. Maybe if it's your first postcast. I got to say, this is the largest number of live viewers we've had other than 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago when we had the stream on multiple YouTube channels. So the largest stream we've had on just the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. So I will now humbly ask everybody, whether you're new or a returner, a loyal viewer, scroll down and hit that like button. Please. I appreciate it. It will help me so much. It will, above all else, let me know that this postcast, this show, is worth it for all of you, even in a brutal season. Also, please hit that subscribe button, especially the new people, especially Birds for Life, especially Bob Daniels, especially there's one more, especially Eric Gamboa. Please, if you are new, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean so much to me. We're growing this community every single night. This is the place to be after every Angels game. This is. If you want unbiased stuff, if you want the right balance of positivity and negativity, I'm not going to come here and be gung-ho every night, certainly. Like, the Angels branded radio and TV broadcasts are going to be, because let's not forget they're supposed to be, or they have to be. I'm not going to be that. I'm not also going to be Mr. Negative every time. Even if you lose every game, I'm not going to be Mr. Negative every time. If we lose, but Soriano, Neto, and if we lose this game, say Ben Joyce gives up 2 runs in the 9th or something and we lose, this would be still a middling game, because we still would have a Neto superstar performance. We still would have a great start from Soriano. Okay? So if you want the place for the right amount, the right combination of positivity when they're supposed to be, negativity when they're supposed to be, reasonable takes. I'm also going to give you stats. I'm not going to be a Monday morning quarterback. I'm not just going to see the results and say, well, this is what we should do because it happened. No, I'm going to tell you what I was thinking in the moment. Like me saying, right time to bring in Hunter Strickland tonight. And obviously it did not go well, but I'm not going to lie and say, oh, the second Strickland came in, I knew it was over. No, I'm going to tell you what I thought and then talk about what happened. So, shout out to all of you. Appreciate it so much. Look at Foot Alex saying congrats for the big numbers. Appreciate that. And Anaheim Angel, we'll leave it with this great comment from him. He says, Gavin, this show is worth it. I make it a point while driving to work to listen, and I hope this continues for future seasons. Absolutely. Absolutely. And hopefully in future seasons, it'll be after a whole lot more wins. But with all that being said, what a night. What a Saturday night. big game, big win, big crowd in the stadium, big crowd in the postcast. Love you guys so much. Have a great rest of the weekend. Angels win. And we go from, oh man, another sweep on the way to, wait a second, let's win a series. Let's win a series against the Mets team that, boy, cannot afford to lose a series to the Los Angeles Angels. I'm Gavin Carlson. Angels win 5-4. Zach Neto, 3-run shot, go ahead. Ben Joyce, 4-out save, including 105 on the last pitch of the game. Soriano, 6 shutout innings, and a whole lot of joy with a little bit of pain in between. I'm Gavin Carlson. I'm signing off. Go have a great rest of your Saturday night. We'll see you back here tomorrow. And above all else, and especially on a night tonight, go Angels. Take care, everybody.